Hi, my name is Akiba Twixo, and let's just talk about my new sort of favorite gaming genre. With the Steam Net, Net with the Steam Net, with the Steam Next Fest just ending, I got the chance and opportunity, thanks to Valve, to test out a bunch of different games. A bunch of demos came out, and I sort of found something that speaks to me in a sense that everything about it is definitely my sort of game, my sort of vibe. A game that I would personally would like to make, a game that I sort of enjoy plowing through hours through without really considering my family members. And this game that I'm most likely talking about is already probably on screen, and the one that I got the chance to play today, well, not today, recently, was Zwad. If you are familiar with this type of game, you probably already know what kind of direction I'm going with in this video. The description of Zwad is craft your ultimate sword by scavenging parts in a post-apocalyptic world. Navigate an expansive open world relying on the might of your customized blade to overcome dangerous species infected by mysterious technology. And honestly, from the demo, this is pretty much to the T what the gameplay is. Zwad is most and foremost an action 2D action adventure game in the likes of Hyperland Drifter and maybe even the 2D Zelda games. And these are the games that sort of kind of gone unnoticed in the gaming industry, specifically by AAA standards. Now, Zelda has been a long running series, and the 2D Zelda games are quite phenomenal by their own standards. I never quite liked Zelda in a 2D fashion, though. Just a bit of background history. My first experience with The Legend of Zelda was Breath of the Wild. Yes, I never knew a Zelda game existed before Breath of the Wild. And that sort of poses a problem because for old Zelda fans who enjoyed the 2D era would possibly still have an affinity towards it. But me, I have an affinity towards Breath of the Wild. That's the first thing I ever got exposed of in the Zelda universe. So with my background knowledge on the existence of 2D Zelda games, I did sort of decide to go ahead and, do my history a little bit. But history sometimes it's better forgotten. Jeez, I'm gonna have Zelda fans kill me. Personally, for me, 2D Zelda games don't hit as much as Zwad does, in a sense that most 2D Zelda games are puzzle oriented, and that's not my cup of tea. I'm mostly an action heavy type of guy. I just want to brain smash, click A to swing sword, and that's it. That's pretty much it. That's my therapy. And Zwad really does capture that magic. And this is the most recent capturing of that magic that I personally experienced. Because this isn't the first time I've experienced a game just like Zwad. And that, my friends, is the legendary Hyper Light Drifter. For those who don't know this game, developed by Heart Machine, it's quite well known. I don't know how you don't know about this, but Hyper Light Drifter is also a 2D action game, and was released all the way back in 2016, which is insane just to think about. But 10 years later, there's still not quite a variety of games that do capture its magic. Zwad does come close, and that's a good thing because we need more games. Well, I need more games just like Hyper Light Drifter. I played Hyper Light Drifter all the way back in 2018, maybe even 2019, on a potato PC. I had a laptop that was handed down to me by my father that had a Core 2 dual processor, and Hyper Light Drifter was one of the only games I could play. Mind you, I may have a bias towards this game just because I was able to play it on that potato PC. Since the PC was incapable of handling any newer release titles, my gaming list was very short back then. Nevertheless, I still believe that this game is very quite unique because I haven't seen it being replicated anywhere else. 2D Zelda games do have a similar feel, but it's been a while since Nintendo did a traditional pixelated 2D Zelda game and did it with this much sauce. And if they did, please show me. I'd like to know. Even the studio Heart Machine kinda is having a hard time replicating the success of Hyper Light Drifter, and not necessarily in a financial aspect, more or less in the games they make, because the series itself took a turn and went 3D. Although I was hesitant about the change, I still welcomed it as long as the game proved that it can belong in the same category as Hyper Light Drifter. And Hyper Light Breaker came, and it also went. For as much as a time frame it had on my timeline, I sort of haven't seen any major talks with regards to Hyper Light Breaker. I don't even know if the game is being produced. Hell, let me check that right now. Just checked, and the game itself is still in early access. And personally, I did get the opportunity to play it myself, and I wasn't very much interested in the roguelike elements that it incorporated. The character designs are unique, the world is unique. It's just not my type of game, especially when it comes to the Hyper Light, or what I think the Hyper Light franchise should actually be. The world they're sort of expanding on with the different characters you can play as, and riding a skateboard or hoverboard in this instance, or even paragliding, is all fun and things I would like to see in a Hyper Light game. But the roguelike elements are the ones that sort of boil and put everything down for me, because that's not what I enjoy Hyper Light for. As much as Breaker is, I understand, to be its own thing, using the Hyper Light branding name is sort of a selling point, and the world is also sort of a selling point to that degree, because as far as I understand, the world of Hyper Light Breaker is procedurally generated, in obviously with elements they sort of made themselves. But let me not discredit the game. It is what it is. It's not my cup of tea. Let's just move on. While Hyper Light Breaker is different from its philosophies, Drifter really sees itself as an art piece. And 10 years or so later, nothing really ever came close. Once I was done with my original playthrough of Hyper Light Drifter, I decided to look through forums and, Google search on other games that are in the similar vein. Although I did find a few that sort of scratches the same itch, it didn't really scratch the same itch. It sort of satiated it, but I went on with my life knowing that at least a game like it does really exist. Just to give you a little bit more details on what I tested out back when I was still looking for games like it, Unsighted was one, Crosscode was another. I had a lot of fun with Death's Door. I still need to finish that, but even then, Death's Door has its own sort of uniqueness that is not shared with Hyper Light. But the nuances are sort of beyond me to sort of explain. Maybe it's the fact that it's isometric, but I don't think so. Although the game is still pretty fun, generally a good game. And Children of Mortar. All of these games mentioned do have a very positive rating on their Steam pages and are good games in general. But at the end of it, none of these games truly filled the hole that Hyper Light Drifter sort of left. I still thought about it, but years go by and you sort of forget. Death's Door is was the one that came closest, but the world that it has sort of was not the same as Hyperlight. In a sense, it's more dungeon driven than explore based and more linear instead of open world, quote unquote. And we can argue, and I can argue, that even Hyperlight Drifter is not really a quote unquote open world game. You still need to go through the bosses in a specific way, which is not something that's wholly unique to the game in and of itself. Even The Legend of Zelda does this, and Ocarina of Time does this, and those are still considered big open world games. So maybe my definition is a bit skewed to a more GTA like open world experience. Regardless, both Zwad and Hyperlight Drifter are in the same sort of category of game. The only thing that I'm sort of talking about is putting my foot down and hoping Zwad really delivers something that Hyperlight Drifter didn't. And that is mainly just a more richer environment. During my gameplay, as far as I remember, in Hyperlight Drifter, most of the time you're just running around and fighting enemies. Other times you walking into a beautiful pixelated environment, but it's pretty much filled with nothing. The world is open, but what's the point of it being open when there's nothing to interact with? Although I do believe this is something that the developers knew and sort of wanted for Hyperlight Drifter, as the main experience of the game is someone who's pretty much alone and going through a journey on his own. But with Zwad, on the other hand, it takes place in a post apocalyptic world where humans don't really exist, where you're the only one of your kind. And that should open up doors to various ways of interacting with the world, whether it's with NPCs or NPCs coming to hunt you down specifically because you are human and you're very unique, or just having more settlements out there that that you can find on your own without really making it a main town due to a quest log or something like that, where the world really functions outside of you and not because of you. That's really what I want for Zwad, and hopefully that's what they deliver. With the demo, I didn't see a lot of that, but I do hope they do deliver something spectacular, or at least something close to what has already been achieved with Hyperlight Drifter. But that's all from me from now. Do check out the demo, check out the next fests, and enjoy gaming. Cheers.